Hey, y'all. Welcome to this week's episode 40 Watt Podcast. So glad to be back with y'all. This week, I've got Mr. Paul Drew from the Studio Rats. I'm so excited to get Paul on the podcast. He's become a friend over the last year or so, and honestly, this podcast kind of shows that. We end up just kind of chatting for a little bit. We get a bit of his story, his backstory, and then we just kind of chit chat like old friends. So if you were looking for like some deep diving episode, this might not be it. We just had a good time talking about gear and guitar and our journey through it all and how we think about gear. But before you get in this podcast, let's talk about a couple of things that are coming up that you really need to know about. First of all, I want to thank the sponsors of this podcast. First and foremost, I want to thank Barry over at Grez Guitars. Y'all already know I'm a big fan of Barry's guitars. I recommend you go over to grezguitars.com, go over to Grez Guitars on Instagram, follow him on YouTube, all those things. Links are below. Making some of the best guitars out there, period, bar none, unparalleled. I think he's got some unique takes on semi-hollow and hollow body design, solid bodies. I think maybe the best junior style guitar in the game is a Grez. Go check them out. You'll be glad you did. Also, want to thank a couple other sponsors. We have Mark from Summer School Electronics. Recently, I got in the Snow Day delay, and I've been having a blast playing with that. It's a really, really great kind of character delay with two different modes. Well, actually, you can switch between two rates. So you can have a fast delay, you can have a slow delay, and then it's got the blizzard switch that just makes things kind of cool and gnarly, and you're going to like it a lot. Go check out some videos. I'm hoping to do one myself on it very soon. Lastly, I want to thank my friends over at Maris. Maris make some of the most amazing pedals on the planet. They do so much. They're smarter than I am, and I'm still diving into the sounds I can get out of them all the time. Terry, Angelo, and Gina over there are just some of the best people, and they make some great products. So please go check out Maris. Buy a pedal. I'm really still playing with the Enzo X, and I think it's really a lot of fun, and I'm not the target audience for an Enzo X. Anyway, a couple of other things. There are links below if you want to support the podcast. Click the Reverb affiliate link. Click the Sweetwater affiliate link. You're buying gear anyway. And if you want to help support the podcast through Patreon, you can do that at patreon.com/40watt podcast. $5 a month gets you extra episodes every time an episode goes out. And lastly, the thing that costs you no money, please like and subscribe. It really does help the show. It helps other people find the show. Rate and review on whatever podcast player you're using, and I really, really appreciate it. That's enough jabbering. On with the show. 40 Watters, welcome to this week's episode, 40 Watt Podcast. Very excited, as I always am, but I didn't say super excited because I'm trying to stop saying it. Hope you've been well. It's been a bit. It's been a minute. Life gets crazy, y'all. You know how this is, especially during the summer. But I have got some really great interviews lined up coming up soon. So I think you're really going to enjoy the next run of episodes. This week is included in that one. This week, I've got my buddy. You've already seen the thumbnail. You've already seen the title. You know who it is. So, but I've got Paul Drew from the Studio Rats. Paul and I got to hang out at NAMM this past year. I jumped into their live stream a few times, and then Paul decided last minute to show up at NAMM like 2 days before the event. And
well, that was pricey. I can tell you.
I bet it was. It wasn't actually 2 days, but it was real close.
It was about 2 days. Yeah,
Was
it wasn't
really?
far off. But sorry, I'm interrupting you. Go
No,
on.
you're good. We can roll right into this. So Paul and I have been chatting, hanging out, and getting to know each other, and he's determined to turn me into a Super Strat guy, and we're going to talk about that a little later, Paul, here in a minute, because you're on a Super Strat journey right now over on y'all's YouTube channel.
I am.
But before we go there, for our listeners who for some reason don't know who you are, I don't know how, y'all go follow their YouTube channel, follow their Instagram. All those links are down below. Paul, how'd you get into guitar? How'd you get into, what's your history in music? And then how'd you get into doing YouTube?
Well, first of all, I'd be surprised if your audience do know who I am because, I mean, it's not that big a channel. But yes, so I started, oh, God, it's a big, long story. I started playing guitar when I was 14. So what's that, 6 years ago? Something like that.
6, maybe 7.
Yeah, 7. Yeah. And, I mean, do you know, I grew up, so I was born in 1974.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I grew up all the way through that 80s era of listening to things like. Well, first of all, I should probably say my dad was a massive music. My dad is a massive music fan. He was really into proper sort of guitar music, like Dire Straits, Eric Clapton, stuff like that, proper songs. And then so I was brought up with Dire Straits, and then I lived through the whole sort of 80s era, and then just towards the end of the 80s, well, mid to end of the 80s, I started playing guitar. And one of my friends played me this Metallica album. Oh no! He started to. I mean, he was showing me these Metallica riffs on guitar, and I just couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it. So I was like, I want to play guitar. So for that Christmas, my mum and dad bought me a one of those 80s Squire Strats.
One of the
And
good
it was
ones.
just, it was great. It was great. They go for stupid money now, those things.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history. How far do you want me to go?
Yeah, keep going. So
Keep going. Okay.
You get the guitar, because obviously at some point you decide this is what I'm going to do for a living.
Yeah. Okay. So I left school. I went to college. Left school. I didn't do music, and then I started working in the guitar shop. And then all of a sudden, one day the guitar teacher didn't turn up. The classic story, and they needed someone to teach the students guitar. So I was like, I'll do it. And then I became the store's guitar teacher, and the original guitar teacher got sacked. So I took that over, and then it came to the stage where I had more students than I was earning at the shop. So it was just like, why am I working here when I could be earning more money? So I left, became a full-time guitar teacher, and compared to all my mates, I was earning a fortune. Because it's crazy because you're 18, 19 years old, and they've just left college or they're going to university, and there's me that's earning decent money. And so what happened then? I got a bit lost. I think I sort of lost the passion for teaching, where I was doing more teaching than playing.
Yeah,
and I was in various bands and stuff, but it was I feel there's some great teachers out there. There's some people that just can teach and they really enjoy it, but it wasn't for me, and I wasn't playing like I wanted to play. I wanted to be on a big stage. I wanted to be, I wanted to be Slash or whatever.
Somewhere where all that delay and reverb makes sense, right?
Yeah. Oh, you've noticed. Yeah. You've noticed. And I really got into recording guitar. Into writing songs and recording, and all of a sudden I was at a gig. I was doing a gig, and there was a manager there, and there was a manager of this band there, and he said, do you write and record? And I said, yeah. Funny enough, I did. So I ended up producing that band, and that band flopped, by the way. But anyway, then then I went to music school. Got taught by luckily one of my tutors was Guthrie Govan, who was
insane.
I know it was just a crazy experience because now he was known then, but he was now he's like this megastar, isn't he? And so halfway through my school career, I got a job in a sign band. This management company contacted me and said, we're looking for a guitar player for this band. Do you want to come audition? So it was me and a bunch of other guys that auditioned. I got the job. So we literally toured the country and supported this album. That all, I've got stories about that, but that all, the band
we can
got
put those
dropped.
on Patreon. We'll put all those.
Yeah.
On
Oh yeah. They probably need to be, actually, because there's probably some things that I can't say. The band got dropped. I ended up doing like various sort of session TV work. I auditioned for a couple of big bands at the time. One was Jamiroquai. That unfortunately I didn't get. I've done a video about that, actually, but Rob Harris got the job, and that was his job. He got the job that he deserved. He's absolutely fantastic. And then I just got, with doing sort of various sort of session TV stuff, I got I got back into producing, and then became the in-house producer at this record company. And then the record company got bought by another record company, so everyone got sacked in the record company. And then we decided to take out this what's become a self entity, the three of us who were part of that. And then we started this company called DWB Music, and then we became like the biggest production publishing team outside of Asia, so Japan and Korea.
Wow.
And so we wrote these, we wrote songs for the J and the K-pop bands. And the great thing about Asia is that CDs are still sold out there. So
Are they
what
really?
happens?
Are they
Yeah,
really?
it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So say that you've got like this J-pop band, and say that there's probably 13 members in the band. What they'll do is they'll release 13 different versions of the exact same album with a different face on the front. So we ended up like selling, millions of records because of that.
Yeah.
Because of that, not because one person's buying an album. It's because one person's buying 13
All
albums.
13. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So we did that. I got a bit sort of fed up with writing pop songs. This was 6 years ago. I couldn't write another pop song. So I started the Studio Rats, and with a view to putting the music that I wanted to write and produce on YouTube, which I did. And then all of a sudden, I can't remember what happened. I think maybe it was Boss or something got in contact with me and said, "Oh, do you want to review this?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I'll do that." And then it's now become a gear review channel, which I love because I'm obsessed with gear,
Yeah.
like amps, guitars, effects, pedals, multi-effects, modelers, capture devices, all of that sort of stuff. I love it.
Yeah, which is actually, that's how I discovered y'all. Is I discovered the Studio Rats channel when I was in the middle of searching for like my be all end all like Vox sounding amp, and you had done videos on the matchless the DC30, or could have been
Yeah.
the HC30, or whichever
Yeah.
variation of the C30 it was. Because I was really looking at, do I want the matchless? Do I want the divided by 13 RSA31, which is what I ended up with? Yeah, I was looking at the Z-Rec as a possibility.
Nice.
Like, to be honest, what it really came down to is the one I found a deal on first. Like, what did I find the best deal on?
But that's
That
what I
was,
do.
yeah.
What
It's
was
just
it? What was it?
the
It
divided by
was the
13
oh,
RSA31, the
that's a
loudest
cracking.
31-watt amplifier on the planet. I don't get to play it very often because it is too much, even attenuated. And it does 15 watts, doesn't help. It's loud. It is just loud as hell. And but live, it sounds incredible. Basically, that's the only time I ever get to use it, is when I'm playing a big enough stage, which is really sad. I'm going to figure out a way to use it more often. But yeah, I started watching y'all's videos, and it I was like, oh, this is my thing. Like, y'all were doing all these great amp reviews, these guitar reviews, but also you're mixing in the recording techniques and stuff like that y'all are doing. And I'm like, that's what I love. Because originally my undergrad was a dual degree in music and audio engineering, so that's like,
Awesome.
that was right up my alley. But I'm so far removed from that. I've talked about that on this podcast, is that I did it and then promptly realized I didn't want to work for hire in a studio because musicians are awful. I just didn't want to. I had a couple of bad experiences recording bands in the studio, and I was like, you know what? I don't need this. I'm going to do something else. This is awful dealing with people. For the most part, musicians are great, but in a studio, sometimes people can get a little.
I
Yeah,
couldn't agree
that's
more.
all I'll
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's when I discovered y'all, and since then, like I said, we've become friends, and I think you have really, really cool taste in gear. You have great taste in gear. You go through some of my favorite amps because y'all do amp packs and captures and those kinds of things. So it's really great to hear what a player that knows what they're doing sounds like on it, instead of me playing my very, very, very stale blues rock licks that I play.
I mean, we've all got stale licks. I haven't, from what I've heard from your playing, you're fantastic. So you don't need to worry about that.
I do appreciate that. But it's, um, it's always a growth, right? You're always trying to figure something out, like how do I sound like not me? And that's every journey. It's like, okay, I've worked that in now that sounds like me. Now I need something else. um but your playing is like one of those things that brought back my original so my original guitar teacher in college was a guy by the name of Barry Bays. And Barry Bays is primarily a bassist, but he's a great guitar player too. um and he played bass and was like best friends with Sean Lane. And so, yeah, very early, because Sean Lane was a Memphis guy and he was in the Mississippi area. And um, in fact, the guitar Barry used to give me lessons on was the white Strat that Sean used to have, and I think it's in a bunch of videos and on a cover of an album and that kind of stuff. And so, but I really remember those lessons, and like Barry's showing me Sean Lane licks and he's showing me like Scott Henderson and he's like dragging out Alan Holdsworth. And I'm like, yeah, I don't, do you know any Albert King licks? Do you like, can you just, I want to sound like these guys and not these guys. But lately I'm starting to feel that itch. And you have a lot of those influences in your playing as well. I don't, a lot of that 80s, some of that that extended harmony, that extended uh technical ability. And so that's where I am. I'm really really listening to your playing a lot. I'm going to steal all of it, is the plan.
Mate. Well, I was and I am a massive. I say I was a massive Steve Lukather fan. I wish I could play a
Yeah,
tenth of what he could play, but I was Steve Lukather for me. Just tone and feel and style and stuff is just absolute genius.
I didn't know I was a Lukather fan until I realized all the shit he'd played on that I'd heard. And I was
Mate,
like, oh no, I like this guy a lot. So so
so good.
yeah, so let's talk about one of the videos y'all been working on, and it's sort of like influencing me. Listeners, those of you that have been listening for a while, know that Strats aren't my favorite guitars. Um, they were at one point, and then that shifted after my primary guitar got stolen, which was a Strat at the time, and I never
Oh
connected
no.
with one again. Never played another one that felt like that one and felt right in my hands. And that's when I drifted into the Gibson fanboy that everyone knows me as. But we've been chatting a whole bunch and talking to, of course, James, and of course, hanging out with Vinny over at Vinny the Axe as well. And y'all are all Super Strat guys. And so now I'm like, oh, maybe I need to try this.
You
How's your
definitely need
journey
to
been
try
going?
it. Well, it's good. It's been expensive. I tell you, well, you and me have got similar sort of. You're a bit of an enabler, if that's the
Mm-hmm.
right word, for getting people to spend money.
I like the term
You know,
influencer.
influencer. That's a good word.
Isn't
Yeah,
that the
it's
word
been
we're using
expensive.
now?
It's been expensive. So I initially started off with. I mean, I've had Super Strats in the past, obviously, but I feel that there's definitely an 80s influence coming back, and I know it's been there. It's been there for some time, but it feels like it's really coming back at the moment.
Yeah.
So that was why I. Shall I show you a couple of guitars actually?
Yeah, yeah. What you working on?
And then so I was at Henning, don't you? You
Yeah,
know
I know
Henning.
Henning.
So I was at Henning's Gear Street last year, and there was this guitar there, which is a Valiant. Valiant
Mm-hmm.
is a Ukrainian guitar manufacturer. They make these awesome guitars. Even in with all the trouble that's going over at the moment, they're still building these guitars. And this was there, and I tried it out, and I was just like, oh, HSS again. I really, really want to get back into this. So start off with that, and then I bought a Sir, and it was just a little bit heavy. Great, fantastic guitar, a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
Did that, and then someone's no, yeah. Then I saw an RJ Ronquillo video about, or maybe it was Sean Tubbs, one of them about Tyler guitars, and I went, Tyler, that's 80s, that's proper Super Strat. Let's do
Very
that.
80s. That headstock looks like a Trapper Keeper cover.
the headstocks are a bit wrong. The funny thing is I used to hate the headstocks on
Yeah.
Tyler's, and like now I'm just like, oh, look at that. It's such a weird thing. This how quickly you can be sort of changed.
Yeah.
Your views can change. Anyway, so I bought saw this Tyler, and I was like, oh, I've got to get a Tyler. Then I found out how expensive they were.
Mm-hmm.
Had to buy a Tyler. So you're the same as me. There's
Yeah.
stuff going in and out all the time. So you sell a couple of amps and you go, all right, if I sell that and I sell that, I might be able to get this. So anyway, I got a
Guitarist
Tyler.
math.
Yeah, yeah, guitarist man. And then Tyler, and then because of the job that I do on YouTube, a couple of companies started getting in contact saying, can you review this? We've got this. I'll send it over. And I can't remember what I've had since then, but the one I'm staying with at the moment, I've got a couple of things that are in that are coming.
Yeah.
And a couple of things, and the Tyler's actually gone back because I didn't like the pickups on it.
Okay.
So
it's coming back. It's going to come
back.
back.
Yeah, it had a hollow body, so I've ordered another body, so that body's going back. Rich at Tyler is absolutely amazing. I mean, for customer service, Tyler are just
for what it's worth with Tyler and the headstock. My issue is actually not the shape of the headstock. I know that's a lot of people's issues. Mine is that the way they do their logo, like it's like a printer running out of ink. I can't stand it. I don't like it. If they would just do big and bold James Tyler guitars across the headstock, I'd probably be way more into it.
They do offer a different headstock, different logo designs, and you can get that one, although it's more of like a little font. But yeah, so that's coming back. I'm picking that up on Wednesday, which is good. Awesome. And then so far, I think that's the favourite, which is a Sir Polonia, which is like this just incredibly light Sir.
Yeah.
So for me,
that's the way a Strat should be. A Strat should not be 8 pounds.
A Strat shouldn't be 8 pounds, should it?
No.
Yeah. So that's under 7 pounds. That's, I think, 6.7 pounds. I mean, it's just.
Well, that's like it should be.
Oh, mate, and it's cracking. So there's a Shabbat. So I've got a Shabbat coming as well, which I'm very excited about.
You mentioned something that I think is a really, really important point that I think we could really talk about is, and it's a marketing principle. It's all a PR and marketing principle. And it's how quickly your mind can change on something if you see it often enough in the right contexts, right? Like, I know how I can be influenced in the same way everyone else can be influenced. I'm not unique in this regard. We see something over and over again, regardless of how much we're like, oh, I don't like it. It's not my thing. Eventually, someone shows it to you in a way you didn't see it, or creates enough positive energy around it for you that your brain shifts. I'm that way about Super Strats. Like, I wasn't really into it, and it's weird because if I end up loving a Super Strat, like if that becomes a thing for me, I'm gonna have to eat so much crow. So much because I have spent 4.5 years on this podcast talking about how I don't like Strats.
But you're a man that likes, you like that vintage aesthetic, don't you?
Yeah, and I really do. I love vintage aesthetics. I like weathered aesthetics. It's the blues love in me, right?
Yeah.
Like all of my heroes played these beat up guitars. And that's just what looks good to me. That's what I like. So, the Super Strat thing, they're always so shiny. They're always so flashy. Now you're starting to get some that are relicked and beat up. And I'm like, oh, this is a little closer. I can speak this language.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I mean, if you can give me a guitar that's been smashed up, when I say smashed up, I'm exaggerating, but relict. For me, I love relics. And for that reason, I can go to a gig, I can do a gig, and if it gets knocked, I don't care.
That's my favorite part because I used to love pristine guitars. I used to love pretty guitars. I remember y'all have heard me talk about how much I'm not into the PRS thing. But, as a late teens, early 20s, I used to look in the Musician's Friend catalog at all the gorgeous PRSs that said call for price. And like how much I adored those. I remember the Dragon series when it came out and how gorgeous those guitars were. Now I think they're so gaudy. They're so gaudy. But, in my 20s, I thought, those look awesome. Now I'm like, please give me a guitar that I'm not going to cry when it gets the first ding.
Yeah.
Because it's going to get it.
it's definitely going to get it. And that's the thing about PRS. I mean, I love PRS. They're just like, they play like a dream, and they're great. But how many PRSs have you seen? Where, like, how many forums have you been on? One where the PRS owner is going, "I've just dinged my PRS. What am I going to do?"
Right.
That sort of thing. Or someone's trying to sell a PRS and no one wants it because it's got a
It's
ding
got a
in it.
ding. Yeah.
Because and it's just crazy. I really don't know why they don't make a relic PRS, and I know it's all about Paul. Go on.
Paul doesn't like it. Paul does not like them. In fact, I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was Zach Myers had
Uh-huh.
he bought or maybe they sent him one, a Silver Sky that he then had refinished in like a relic shell pink. And apparently Paul was not a fan. He did not like that Zach Myers, a PRS artist, was out there playing a relic PRS. Just did not like it. If I'm wrong, please someone correct me, but that is the lore I've been told. I believe Zach Myers even told the story on his rig rundown over on Premier Guitar about how, yeah, Paul wasn't a fan of this.
It should be, cater for your audience, not for your own preference.
Yeah.
It should be, yeah, make those pretty pristine ones, but also make a PRS for us.
Do you know that if PRS made a Sunburst Silver Sky relic, that thing would fly off the shelves?
Wouldn't it just? Wouldn't it
Oh,
just?
because you get that old school to get that relic beat up feel and look aesthetic, but with the playability and the precision of PRS, they
Oh,
wouldn't be able to keep them in stock.
but the Silver Sky is such a great guitar.
I really wanted to hate it when it came out because again,
Yeah.
my Strat thing. I played one, and the SEs are fine. I like them a lot. I think they're brilliant guitars for the money. But I finally played the full fat version, the core version, and the neck is spectacular on the core version. I think it gets a little thin on the SE, the lighter version. But it's got this properly chunky neck on the core version that I really not like 58 Les Paul chunky, but it just had more to it. And I was like, yeah, I could play this. Now give me that in a Sunburst relic.
And I think those Silver Sky pickups as well are just sensational.
Yeah, I think they're really good. I don't think they do one with a humbucker in the bridge either, do they? I don't
No,
know
they
if they
don't.
do a version.
That's what you should do. You should go and buy a Silver Sky, go and route it out for a humbucker, get it refinished.
Yeah, that sounds like a great way to drop a whole lot of money I'll never get back in any way, shape, or form. Because
Hey,
then
I'd buy it off you.
no one's buying that guitar from me ever.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, because I hate thinking about things like that, but as someone who does buy and sell instruments a lot, you do think about resale. And
Yeah, of
I
course.
love the folks who are like, "Oh, I never think about how much I could sell it for. I never sell anything." Well, you, sir, have way more luxury than I do because I can't keep everything. I know it looks like I do, but I don't because it's impossible.
Yeah, how many guitars you got there
I
that I
don't
can
know.
see?
Don't make me count them, Paul. Don't make. That's rude. Don't ask a man his number.
It's rude.
That's rude. Yeah, it's too many. I am trying to thin things down a little bit, but it gets hard at some point. Like,
Yeah.
because especially if you don't like, other than space, if you don't need to sell them, like I don't need to recoup the money. I'm okay. Like, sure, it'd be nice to have that extra cash just sitting in the bank. What would I do with it? I'd buy more guitars because
Of
this
course
is
you
the
would.
only hobby I have.
It's sad, isn't it? It is sad when, I mean, I'm exactly the same when your hobby is well, no, it's not sad. It's a privilege for your hobby to be your job,
Yeah.
but then you haven't got anything else that you can remove yourself from that because you're always like obsessed about, oh, this is coming out and this is coming out. I mean, it's fantastic. We're in a really fortunate position to
Yeah.
to do this, but I need to find something. I need to go and I don't know. I need to find something.
Start bicycling. I hear that's an expensive hobby.
I do that. I do that, but
Oh,
I do
there you
it
go.
because it's it's not a hobby. It's not. I'm not obsessed about it like I am guitar.
Okay. You do it because you should.
Yeah.
So, uh, the other thing that I think is really interesting, you're one of the folks I see on YouTube who hasn't picked a side, like analog amp or digital. Like you just put them together. You're like, don't care. I'll use all the tools that are available to me. You put out a video recently about your setup, which has influenced me way too much. I no lie, Paul. I think I've watched that video now 10 times all the way through.
Great. I just keep watching it.
Listeners, I'll try to remember. I might link that direct video down below.
Don't skip those adverts. Don't skip. Just keep watching the adverts.
I pay for YouTube Premium. What are you talking about? I don't
Yeah,
see any
good man.
ads. I don't see any commercials. when I log in, like when I open up YouTube accidentally and it's not on my profile, so it has the commercials and ads, I'm like, what is this shit? Like what? I'm 2 seconds into this video. There's a freaking 4-minute commercial. What is this? Listeners, I'm so sorry. If you're not paying for premium, you might want to consider it.
Yeah, you defo.
But yeah, you've got this really great rig and it influenced me. You sent me a link to an amp that I'm going to do a video on eventually, but you've done a video on it, the Hook Wizard. What a cool amplifier. What a cool amp.
Isn't it awesome? It's like, well, it's the perfect hybrid between, those people that are modeler only or amp only. This is like, if you get one of these, it's like, it's the perfect option. They're not cheap, but damn, they're good.
They can be found if you're patient. You can find a deal on one used, which is what I did. I found a really good deal on a used one. I think it ended up less than half new is what I ended up paying.
Yeah.
That's partially because nobody knows what they are. Nobody really knows. So listeners, if you're not familiar, the amp is a Hook Wizard. There's now a Hook Wizard 2, which just apparently has some refinements. It's basically still the same amp. It is a 2-channel all tube 45 watt amp with an effects loop, but it's also got a built-in load box, IR loader, XLR out, and my all-time favorite feature, it has 32 presets because all of the knobs are on digital rotary encoders, so it memorizes your knob position and saves it as a preset. And so you can use a MIDI controller to switch between 32 presets.
And all the controls go.
Yeah, they all move like the Chase Bliss automaton pedals.
Yeah. Funny because when you do a video, and you'll get it as well, when you do a video on your Hook amp, first comment will definitely in the top 10 will be, oh yeah, but what happens when those the knobs break or it's just,
you get them fixed. That's what happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
You get it. It's the same thing you do when any other piece of equipment breaks down. You get it fixed.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, they are amazing. I mean, they sound so good, those amps as well. They are great. They are really great. But that's the future. I see it as the future. Yes, I love capture devices, Tonex, Quad Cortex, Kemper, whatever. And I love and I love modelers as well. Things like the XFX and the Boss GT units and all that sort of stuff, because it's all usable. And if I had something that sounded as good as even a Boss Katana when I was starting off, I mean, I'd have been able to play properly probably now.
Yeah, the Boss Katana has really rewritten how good a budget first amplifier can be. It doesn't make any sense. I've had friends who they have kids who are getting into guitar and they're like, oh, what should I get them? I'm like, just go buy this. Just don't hunt anything else. And just get this because it's just that easy. I do sometimes suggest the Line 6 Catalyst as well. I think those sound really, really good. So, do you still play out any? Are you still gigging any? Do you still do any actual write and record kind of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not so much producing much anymore because of the YouTube channel, because it's become my thing. So yeah, I left DWB Music last February last year. So I'm literally on my 3-year exit from being a director at that. So yeah, no, I don't really do much producing anymore because the YouTube channel has taken what takes up all of my time, and I just love, as I said, I love gear.
Yeah.
So gigging wise, I moved we moved down to the New Forest, which is south of the UK. It's like this national park in the south of the UK.
Cool.
Yeah, it's quite a unique place. We came on holiday down here once, and then it's we fell in love with it, and then we just went, well, let's move here. So we moved down. So since I moved down, I haven't found the right band yet. Put it this way.
I got you.
Yeah.
How's the music scene down there in a national forest?
Yeah, it's a little bit slow. It's a little bit slow. I mean, I was used to, because I used to live just outside of London.
Yeah.
I was used to sort of these sort of great bands and great gigs, and it's very different now. It's very different now. I don't mind, but that's it. I love playing. I think now I'd prefer playing in what you guys would call bars, but we call pubs.
Sure.
Because
it's funny. I talked to enough folks from the UK that I just instantly was going to say pub gigs anyway. So
yeah, pub gigs, because pub gigs are great. They're more fun. You haven't got all the waiting around that you have with sort of weddings and functions and all that sort of stuff. But no, I haven't gigged for about 6 months now, so I need to get out there again.
Yeah, because man, there's nothing like gigging, but there's also nothing like getting back into the flow of doing it regularly and then realizing, oh yeah, this is the part I don't like. This is every Friday and Saturday night's taken. You're hauling gear. There's no good path to the stage. Man, just it's not a lot of fun sometimes. The playing is fun usually.
Yeah, it soon gets tiring, doesn't it? I think it's when, because I've been 6 months out, I think it's like, oh God, yeah, I really fancy like a regular gig again. And then you're right, and it comes to that Friday night and you're going, oh, I just want to have a curry and have some beers.
Yeah. I want a gig where we play the same bar and our gear stays set up and we never have to haul anything.
That's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the dream.
That would be it. That would be the best gig. Sort of that was what playing church gigs used to be for me. It's like, oh, the gear mostly is all there. I show up with a guitar and plug in, and
Oh, that's great. Yeah, occasionally. I mean, I do lots of sort of sessiony things from the studio. So I do lots of playing like that. So people send over some stuff to record, and I'd record it and send it back. And I need to get out and play with some people as opposed to playing with a
track.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I'm sure a lot of listeners are in the same boat. They don't I know a lot of my listeners aren't gigging. They, a lot of bedroom players, a lot of recording, doing their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they see on YouTube all these setups, all these crazy setups, like look at someone like Tim Pierce. But I mean, we're talking like pros pro, right? Like that's next level. He's got a whole room dedicated to 4x12s, mic'd up, ready to go, patch in. When you're recording, do you have a separate room with a bunch of mics set up on cabs, or is everything in the box for you?
No. So behind my sofa there's a 1x12 cab.
Mm-hmm.
I use this switching system called a KHE amp switcher. So I have all my amplifiers over here. If I just twist I have a load of amps there, and then I can switch in different amps, and they all get sent to that cab. So I can switch out whatever amp I want for different jobs, go to that cab. That's attenuated, so I've got a Boss tube amp expander core over there, so I can really crank the amps up and then drive it at a sort of decent level, and then I can record that way, or I can record via so like an Axe effects. It all depends what the track needs for me. So it's
but everything you're doing is inside the space of this room that we see behind you. Listeners, if you're listening, I'm sorry, go over to YouTube. You can look at the video, or look at any Studio Rats video. You can see the room we're talking about. But everything is contained in here. This is your space.
Yeah. I've pretty much always been like that. Even when I was sort of doing production full time, I always like stuff in the room, and yes. So if it's a cab, I'll have it mic'd up in the room. If there's a singer, I prefer producing. If there's a singer in the room, I prefer the singer being in the room as opposed to sort of being in a vocal booth.
Yeah.
See,
The point being that, listeners, it can be done. You can do it all in one room. It is very, very possible.
Yeah.
So, because I've been on a journey like this room I'm in. I sat and stared at it yesterday because what y'all can't see behind me is all the junk on the floor. This room is a wreck. I have like a 4 square foot space that I can wander into this room right now because I'm going through stuff. I'm what's going to leave, what needs to go, but also I want to build like a separate standalone studio. I've talked about it on the podcast before, but the truth of the matter is, even if I get that done, that's a ways out, and I need to maximize this space. And right now, it just looks like a guitar collection room, and I don't want that. I want a functional space that I can actually record, do lessons in, do all my stuff in. So I'm
Cool.
constantly like, what can I do in this one, 11 by 11 room? Or
So are you in like a bedroom in your house, or
yep,
what's your
bedroom in my
thing? Oh,
house.
cool.
Yeah,
Are you
that's
American? You Americans have you're much more privileged than we are, because American houses are always these big sprawling houses, while English houses are much more modestly built. Maybe it's space. Maybe we haven't got the space you guys have got.
Yeah, I mean we've got a lot of space to fit, 350 million people or however many people it is now.
What is there? Oh, cool. Yeah. You just need to, if your wife's got an office, that needs to be your speaker room. We can have your Tim Pierce amps cranked up.
That's the prompt for building a separate standalone studio. It's already taking up 2 bedrooms in our house. It's a mess, and I need to give her some space back because I am stealing an awful lot of it in our house for guitars. And I am also I'm constantly in this like binge purge phase with gear. You know this, you just like the rest of us. But I've been in a binge phase for too long, and it's time to really think about what's staying, what's going, what do I actually need, what do I want, what makes sense to have around, how much of this is duplicated efforts. Because I have this whole mentality, because when I was gigging full time, I didn't always have the best gear, right? So I was always in the, you need a backup. You you
Yeah.
you absolutely need something. If this breaks, what happens? Um, when you do what I'm doing now and what you do, that becomes a lot less important, like needing that backup.
Variety is more important, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
doing what we do. Yeah. You need something that. Yeah. You need one Strat, one Telly, one Les Paul, one 335, a Super Strat, something silly, and then really that's it. But guitars are so pretty, aren't they? You got to
They
have.
are. They are. They make good art. They and people don't like what. So when you say something silly, I'm curious. What's your silly guitar? What's your
What's my silly? Hey, I can show you. Well, I can tell you what just turned up. Something that turned up the other day is something called a Steely Jam, which
I'm
is.
assuming that's a Steely Dan reference, but
Hey, I didn't even think of that, but I'm guessing possibly. It's basically an aluminium guitar. Do
oh
you want to see it? I don't know if
yeah,
that's
yeah,
I don't know how much. Yeah, shall I
yeah.
grab it?
Let's do
It's
it.
in here.
I'm looking it up as we Steely
Not the
Jam
not the
guitars.
prettiest of things, but it's coming for review.
Yeah,
I think
look at that.
cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, look at that
Headstock.
headstock. Ooh, that's a decision. Whew.
That headstock is a headstock that only a mother would love, without a doubt. But
Listeners, I'm going to try to describe that headstock for you, because if you're not a watcher, um, okay, if if you are familiar with the more traditional looking Ibanez headstock that flares out and has the dip at the tip of the headstock, this looks like somebody put it in a trash compactor and just squashed it down. That's
it
a
is a
terrible
bit.
description, but that's what I got.
It is a bit like that, isn't it? But this is it's hollow,
Yeah.
so you've got this almost. It doesn't sound like a resonator, but you have that sort of sharp attack that you
Yeah.
get from like a resonator. And so that came in the other day. I thought that was quite interesting.
You know what it
So
reminds
that's
me of?
that's a silly guitar.
It reminds me of my Mulecaster from Mule.
Yeah,
So, because that's a
you've got a mule
steel,
caster.
yeah, that's a steel body, hollow bodied. Um, just a great sounding guitar, but definitely its own thing. I once took it to a show choir rehearsal,
Hmm.
and that was the only guitar I took. And after the rehearsal, I was like, "Yeah, I can never bring this back for this gig because it is too unique, too much character. That gig needed plain Jane, just absolute, you know, textbook definition. This is a guitar kind of sound." So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
but
you need something that when someone says, "Oh, have you got something that's a bit different?"
yeah.
Something that sounds. I mean, the Mulecast. I mean, fantastic.
Yeah,
But something that
it's to
sounds.
me it's the ultimate like different sounding thing. And I've had it in both baritone and standard tuning, and I had it in D standard for a little while. It lives in baritone now because that guitar is made for baritone.
Isn't that what Ariel Posen uses? Is that?
Yeah, he
It's
uses the
yeah.
dual double cut version, so it's
Okay.
essentially Strat body style, S body style. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
Um, by the way, can we just talk about the whole avoiding saying Strat body style and Telly body style is stupid?
And I think the only people that need to worry about it are the actual manufacturers. I think we can say
Yeah.
whatever. We can
I
say
hear
whatever.
so many podcasters and YouTubers avoid it entirely, and I'm like,
Yeah,
that's what it is. It
that's what
just
it is.
is. Oh, God,
Yeah.
it's frustrating. Uh, anyway, that's a rant for another time. Uh, I I really like different sounding guitars, and but I've got way too much of the same right now.
Yeah, I haven't got the space. I've got so what I've done. I've set up 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12. Still got 12. I
Yeah,
set up 12 guitar stands or wall hangers.
yeah,
Yeah, in my studio here, and if a guitar comes in, one's got to go. So
hmm
I have 12, and that's it. That's it. That's all I need. So there's probably a couple of guitars that I would never sell. One is my Telly, one is my Strat. Everything else is and that
yeah,
Valiant, but everything else just comes and goes, and I think it just keeps things interesting, doesn't it? Because it's
yeah. That's the question. People are like, you have so many guitars, like you can't play them all. It's like, you want to bet? Yeah, I do. I now I don't obviously don't play all of them every day, but there's not a guitar in here that I haven't played in the last month because I'm constantly picking them up and doing something different. And thanks to you, I'm really wanting to try the fractal thing. So
you got to
I've
try
got
the
to try
fracture. Have you
it.
tried one yet? You haven't tried one.
No, I've never played one because
Oh,
they're you cannot find them. No one I know has one that's like I could go try it, right? Nobody I don't know that anyone in Mississippi knows what a fractal is. I'm kidding. I know for a fact guitarists here know what they are, but um Mississippi's got a lot of guitar players. It's that whole FOMO. Am I missing something? Am I missing out on something? So now I want to try it.
I think it's for doing the job that we do.
Hmm
Demoing stuff and all that. It's great because it always sounds the same. One thing,
Can't say that
you
for
put
tube amps.
yeah, very much so. So I can plug into it. It sounds fantastic. The effects on the fractal stuff is next level as far as I'm concerned.
That's the big one. That's the big one for me now because I've got. Don't get me wrong. There's some pedals that I've got here that I love, especially in the modulation, delay, and reverb space. That I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, these aren't going anywhere. I've got the Maris pedals, and those are never
Nice.
leaving.
No,
I
great.
they're absolutely incredible, but there's a part of me that's like, man, I've got an awful lot of pedals for somebody who, when he gigs, takes an overdrive, a fuzz, a tremolo, and a delay. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just too much stuff sitting around, not getting used, not being played. I want a solution where I'm not constantly wanting the next fancy thing that comes out. And
yeah,
for a while, that was Helix. Helix did that for me, but now I don't know. I think I've just gotten bored with the sound of it, is what it really is.
yeah. Helix is getting a bit long in the tooth, isn't it? As well. I think we
Yeah.
all know what it sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, Paul, we're getting close to the end of this main episode. And tell the folks where all they can find you, what you got coming up soon that you can talk about, because I'm sure you got some things you can't. And we're going
Yeah.
to go over to Patreon.
Well, you can find me by looking at the YouTube channel, The Studio Rats. So we do like all just gear reviews and technique stuff, that sort of stuff, and recording stuff, but it's mainly guitars and guitar pedals and amps and all that sort of stuff. What's coming up this week? There's something from Synergy coming up in a couple of weeks, which is very exciting.
That's another I've never really gotten into. I know what they are. I know they exist. Never really gotten into them.
Yeah. So that's coming up. We've got the Shabat guitars coming soon, which is quite exciting. We've got. I'm just looking around. I'm looking around the studio at things. Oh, this is great. This just turned up. Can I talk about this? This is the new.
The Amplified Nation, the bigger bloom,
the bigger bloom. So Amplified Nation, amazing amp. Dumble-esque, Dumble style amps.
I've had one in here.
Yeah. So this is the bigger bloom. Their overdrive pedal. That's I need to do that this week. Get that out there, and
I saw a video popped up. I don't remember who did it, but somebody did a video of one, and it popped up on my feed recently in the last few days. I haven't watched the video. I just saw that there is one. So
probably RJ. RJ's always doing.
He's not fair. RJ's not fair, man.
He's too good, isn't he? He's just too good.
He's too good. He's too good. He's a chameleon style wise. He does everything. So I don't watch his videos anymore because what he sounds like with a pedal is not what it will sound like if I use it. I need more normal guitar players doing demos and not Pete Thorne and RJ Ronquillo.
Yeah, he's super. They're both of those two super talented.
Yeah. Well, listeners, we're going to go over to Patreon. We're going to chat a little more. I'm going to try to get Paul to tell all of his road stories. We're going to have a good time. If you also want to join us over on Patreon, the easiest way, actually the only way to do it, is go over to patreon.com/40watt podcast. $5 a month gets you bonus episodes every time I record a podcast, which hopefully is more often than it's been the last few weeks. But you can do that. Or if you only want to hear the extra episode from Paul, you can actually buy that episode specifically over on Patreon now. It's a really great feature they've added. $5, you can get that episode alone, or you could just pay for a month and listen to as many as you wanted to. Just saying. Well, Paul, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for getting on. And we fought some internet issues actually to get this going. We didn't talk about that a little bit, but things happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. You're always welcome. Listeners, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for supporting the show, and Patreon listeners, we'll see you over there. Until then, the rest of you, be good to yourselves, be kind to each other, and make some noise.